And a lot to digest here. But from your first and second read through, are you surprised by what's not in here?
Well, we heard there's going to be tariffs on day one. I didn't see tariff policy. What I did see is some announcements about what tariff policy might happen. And I think he talked about a tariff on China related to TikTok. But we didn't see any announcements about the tariffs themselves. And that was really what President Trump ran on. The other thing, and this doesn't surprise me, but it might surprise some listeners or some people that have been listening to the campaign stump, there wasn't a reversal that I saw of the electric vehicle rule or of some of the other bigger, costly Biden executive actions. And the main reason for that is a lot of these actions actually go through the rulemaking process. And so they do take time to unravel. You can't necessarily just snap your fingers and do it on day one or day two.
Mark Goldwein, Senior Vice President and Senior Policy Director at the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
President Trump has issued a slew of executive orders on energy. He established a national energy emergency and started the process of trying to roll back some Biden administration energy policies. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer now looks at how much of an impact these attempts by the new administration to increase energy production are likely to have.
The National Emergency on Energy is meant to increase energy production. It's partly a response to the soaring power needs of the data processing centers used in the development of artificial intelligence. The National Emergency allows the government to use the Defense Production Act to increase and speed up energy production. President Trump signed another executive order that would reopen Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to oil and gas drilling. Another executive order is aimed at rescinding former President Biden's restrictions on drilling in areas along the east and west coast. The idea is to boost energy supplies and stabilize prices, but the U.S. is already producing record amounts of oil, and it's not clear that U.S. energy companies want to expand drilling in the areas that were off limits during the Biden administration. Plus, the global oil market sets prices. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
All right, let us do the numbers. I wanted to say that Trump also announced a temporary halt to leasing or permitting for wind power projects. Now the numbers. Yes, Dow and S&P futures are up 0.4%. NASDAQ futures are up 0.5% now. The bond market is up, bringing the 10-year interest rate down to 4.56%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance, helping protect small businesses and the owners who run them. Whether a plumber, accounting business, or restaurant, Progressive can help with over 30 customizable coverages. Online quotes available in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. And by Glassdoor, announcing the best places to work in 2025 based on anonymous reviews from real employees. See who's hiring at Glassdoor.com.
President Trump painted a dire picture of the United States, and few would say there is not room for at least some improvement. That said, America's job creation machine's been going gangbusters. Unemployment is down. Wages have been rising faster than inflation. But consumers, well, that is a conundrum, as Marketplace's Mitchell Hartman reports.
Consumers have been spending a lot, but they still feel pretty mediocre. And as political power has shifted, consumer sentiment has too, says Joanne Shu at the University of Michigan Surveys.
Republicans believe Trump's policies are going to usher in growth, lower inflation in the future, whereas Democrats are quite worried that inflation is going to come surging back.
All that drives consumers to spend more.
Republicans are spending out of confidence, Democrats out of fears that things are going to get worse. If you think prices are going to go up in the future, then now is the time to buy.
Meanwhile, LendingTree reports Americans' monthly debt payments keep rising on credit cards, car, and home loans. But analyst Matt Schultz says most borrowers aren't getting in financial trouble.
If you're feeling good about your job and your overall situation, you're not necessarily scared of taking on debt.
Especially if it's to invest in education, a home, or small business that could build future wealth. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
And there's news from France that champagne sales fizzled by 10% in the year just ended. The Comité Champagne blames economic uncertainty in places like China and inflation in a lot of places, plus war, for souring the impulse to buy real French champagne. I'm David Brancaccio. This is the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
WNYC is supported